racing in the direction of where they had a warthog kill yesterday, which I suspect was stolen. I'm not convinced that they killed it. Anyways, they're here, and I think they look very disappointed that there was nothing left. But I mean, I'm not really sure what they expected. To leave half a carcass, or like I said, I'm sure it was just really a few bits of skin and bones and maybe the head. But the vultures came in and cleaned it all up, and I reckon the hyenas probably scavenged their way through here last night, just picking up the remains of the bones. So they're just back here looking very disappointed. It's okay, boys, you'll find another meal soon enough. You've got enough food to keep you going for a couple more days. But you can see how bad that they've been affected on their face. Excuse me. Didn't even flinch, these cats, as I sneezed. Now, Kendall, perhaps you weren't watching the sunset safari yesterday, but we've actually been discussing this in detail. So what I said yesterday was, obviously we know, and with the mange, it gets rid of all the, or it feeds upon the hair follicle burrows under their skin, so obviously it creates hair loss. And yes, I think to some degree, these cats will be more susceptible to sunburn because they don't have fur covering their bodies. However, the pigment of their skin is dark, so they've got a fair amount of melanin in there, which will definitely help them. So I think they'll need to be careful and sit out in the shade, but I bet the sun probably feels good on their bare skin in the mornings. So it's sort of a catch-22 situation at the moment. The heat also might help with maybe the mites. I'm not really sure. I know a lot of people say if kids that have got lice, it's always good to get the hairdryer out and to try and help get rid of it. So maybe mites, the sun will have a similar effect. Maybe they don't like the heat. Anyways, we can only kind of just sit and observe and watch. I think that they're fine. They're a little bit, the one on the left is definitely a little bit weaker than the other. But that's kind of to be expected. I keep saying they've had such a hard life already. Imagine if these two boys make it against all the odds, every obstacle that's been thrown at them. How incredible will this coalition be? And imagine if they all join up with the older Talamati boy, if they join up with the Nkuhuma male. How exciting! It would be a force to be reckoned with, in my opinion. The fact that these animals have, gone through so much already. The experience that they have in comparison to that young Nkuhuma boy, just about life and moving around on your own at a young age, could be quite valuable to the Talamati and the Nkuhuma boy. So I don't think that these cats are... How's this? Maybe these cats haven't quite finished high school, which is fine, but they've got a whole lot of street knowledge. I think they've will be able to survive in the real world, whereas the Nkuhuma boy, he's been pampered, hasn't he, all the way through. He's been lucky. He was born into quite a big, strong pride. Exactly, Louise. He was at the private school. And, he's had his mom, his aunts, and everybody around. Oh, there were lions calling quite far away. And now these two boys who have come from perhaps not an incredible upbringing. They've had a lot of curveballs thrown at them, mother abandoning them, then living with their other siblings who have just been picked off one at a time, which sounds very harsh to say, but it's true. And now it's just them. So I bet that they're so excited that they found the Nkuhuma pride and that they found the two other young boys. It's probably the best thing that's happened to them in a long time. Red, is it not the Mhangeni pride and the Majingilands? Is that not... I'm not sure. I think that's who... I think the Majingiland males are the ones that sired these two boys, if I'm not mistaken. But again, Tristan is the best one, so he can maybe have a DNC. No, not a DNC. It'll be a WNC, because I'll walk and chat. And he could probably tell you quite a bit about the lineage. I'm really envious of Tristan. It's one thing reading about... Oh, it is the Majingi, so Tristan's agreeing. Okay, perfect. It's one thing reading about all these lions and reading about their lineage and, what they did. But it's another thing to experience it. And that's where I'm super envious of Tristan, because he's been in the industry for such a long time and he's worked in so many different areas within the Sabi San. He's kind of covered the entire Sabi San, which is pretty epic. So he's seen most of the Pride's Alliance. I mean, like I said, he was here. The Mapogos were around. The Majingalans came in. You know, how cool is that? I cannot tell you how envious I am. I would have loved to have been here when all those lion dynamics were completely different to what they are today. So Tristan has kind of lived through an entire lion story with all the amazing things and all the tragedies that have gone on here with all the different big cats, which is pretty cool. Wonderful. But we'll sit here with these boys to see what's making them so nervous, if it is the roars of the evokers in the distance. Or if we go to Steve, who's also got another lion who doesn't seem to be as worried as these boys.